Hello.
Hi, Mavis.
Hello. Is it Kia?
Yep, that's perfect.
Oh, hi.
Hi. This is my mom, Cynthia.
Hi, Mom.
Okay,
Are
and
you?
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, are you a moderator, administrator for Next San Diego?
Yeah, so I'm part of the board members, and I'm normally taking the coffee meetings for this month. So way to support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're new to this coffee meeting thing since our first one. I don't even think I've been to a coffee meeting, but I know that you all have these regularly. So I think we just assume that folks will just come in and it's kind of free flowing, like just conversation. And so we didn't prepare anything. I hope that's okay.
That's good. That's exactly how it is. It's just like a space, like an hour to talk about. We start like talking about anything, like from sustainable to different topics to riding bikes. I mean, yeah. So where are you girls located? What's the name of your coffee? Is it?
Yes, we're Café X, by any means necessary, is our coffee shop name. And we used to be located in College area, like the SDSU area in San Diego. And recently we found ourselves looking for a new location because the building was sold. Building we were in, the storefront we were in, was sold by the building owner. So we have been homeless. I won't say homeless, transient, and kind of just popping up around town, and still connected to community, but also really looking forward to our next landing spot, I'd say. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I'm sorry about selling, but sometimes you get that, the way I see it, like sometimes those bad things lead to great things, you know? A new journey, a new opportunity, something excited, reconnect with another community that might appreciate you way more than before. Not saying that, but I just see like a new journey, and whenever it's a new journey, it's a new adventure. It's always excited.
Yeah.
We have
That's
new people coming here.
Oh, I see.
Alexander Hobson. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Doing great.
I will share my cup for this day.
I know.
I love you.
Mine is, I love coffee. She loves you. I love coffee.
Do what you love.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Love it. Well, I need like a proper coffee for next meeting, but I kind of like this one.
Okay, what we got there?
Namaste.
Namaste at home and drink wine with my dog. I promise there's no wine in it right now, though.
I like that one.
Good. Really good.
So we have here Café X. They're going to talk about their business. How do you start it with coffee? I'm a coffee addict. I love coffee. I've been like, every time I go somewhere, I always look like where the coffee is coming from. And it's very interesting, like how they do the coffee, the grounds, everything. So tell me about it. Share with us.
Okay. So you want to start from the beginning? You want us to start from the beginning or inception?
Where do you want to start?
Yeah,
from the beginning, because we have more people joining. So
okay. So back in 2019, we moved into a brick and mortar building with 4 other businesses as a sublet. So it was us, a coffee shop. The major lessor was an event center. We held a lot more events than them, but they were an event center. We had a beauty salon and a yoga studio that were all in the same space, sharing the space. And so Café X, by any beans necessary, as you were here when I said that's our name. We do a lot more than coffee. I would say about 10% of us is coffee, and the rest is like community networking and organizations. We had a lot of meetings and groups that met at Café X and events. We had a book club, a writers club. We had a head wrap and coffee event. We had someone from a boutique up in LA come down, did this big event. We had a game night that was going on. It was every third Saturday. And we did a lot of the catering events. We went to different locations and did pop-ups and sold our coffee and other drinks. So that was October of 2019 that we did there. We had a grand opening in December. And then, as you all know, come March, COVID hit. So as we were going in an upward trajectory place, had our regulars, even my dog fur people friends were coming by every day. COVID hit and everything just dried up. And then, of course, we had the close down. So we were able to operate, but there was literally no one outside. People were self-quarantining. So inevitably, come around June, the owner of the building decided that they would sell it. That's what we were told, that they were going to sell. And so everybody vacated because no one else there could actually be open for business that whole time. And as you know, the whole year of 2020 went by with being, all these tears and back and forth with COVID. So long story short, they sold the building. We've been out of there since June of 2020, but still engaged with community, still doing some of our other outreach projects. We came up with our own coffee blend that we're going to be selling online. Café X, our first X Factor medium roast coffee, just to try and pivot, to a virtual platform and see what we can get, how we could stay engaged. And this is things we were working on anyway. We just had to kind of do them sooner. So worked on the coffee blend, have been doing pop-ups and interviewing and doing different meetings. We did cater some meetings in between there and so forth until we can actually get another brick and mortar space. So that's kind of where we're at right now, along with, like I said, we are very involved in community collaborations. So there's a big project that we're working on now, a women's resilience project that we've been heavily involved in, and other things. So that's kind of our story and where we're at.
Mm-hmm. And just to rewind even further,
Yeah.
because I know this was captured in maybe the preview or the first post, but this is my mom, and this is I'm the daughter.
Yes, mother got her.
I know you can't tell. And I had this idea for this cooperative coffee shop, which is what we are, which just means equalized ownership of our labor, our time, and our talent. I designed it this way back in 2015, and it was after finishing a fellowship program with a nonprofit called Rise San Diego. And it started as just a community project that I would stand up in Southeast San Diego, which is the community that we're from, and my community of focus at the time. And it's just expanded into this really region-wide, county-wide vision and goal and community since 2016. So we've had a number of partnerships even prior to the storefront,
Right.
To get where we are. And we've just learned so much over time. And I think it took us a while to come into the table that we're at now, which is she and I standing up the infrastructure and then adding on new members. Eventually, as a cooperative, it'll be likely worker owned for some time, and then it may expand into other things, as we evolve and learn more about the folks who enjoy us and who we enjoy. So that is kind of the backstory to the backstory.
Yeah, because she set it up as a cooperative because she wanted to be able to generate generational wealth within the community. That was the whole purpose and focus of it. She has a master's in nonprofit leadership management, but her passion is, we want to, nonprofit, you can't make money, you can't pass that on, but you can absolutely pass on a for-profit and operational business such as a co-op. So that was kind of the bottom line foundation for building Café X. So we've been just building on that mission and that vision. You know, Café X also, because of the networking and the generational wealth building, we did have other businesses that we kind of collaborated with. We had a San Diego art team who had their artwork hung in our cafe and it was sold on consignment there. A Black florist, his bouquets were also on assignment. A woodworker, we were working with Alliance Clinic. They have, they work with refugees and they had some Ghanaian population that made jewelry and we were going to have that sold out of there. So everyone had the opportunity not only come together and collaborate in that way, but also make money on their own individual businesses as well. So a lot of opportunity for that in a space such as we had. So we're just, when we would like to get back to that, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So long story, long.
I know that was a long,
explanation.
I think that was one question that we just answered.
Right, one question.
But
Yeah.
hopefully it gives some context
Yeah.
to who we are. And oh, okay. See ya, Alexander. It's gotta hop off. Yeah, give some context, and we want to learn about you too. And as much as we're sharing, we're interested in the work that you're doing and your interest here. If you're coffee drinkers, or if you're not, what else you're working on in this group.
Hi, I'm Jessa. Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm like eating and
Oh yeah, I know.
I have a microphone and everything. Well, I will say that I am a coffee drinker. I actually just went out. I'm in Missouri for a few months, so I'm in a little different time zone, and I just went out to get lunch. I realized I haven't eaten lunch all day, and I was going to get a coffee. Then I was like, shoot, I need to eat. So anyway, coffee's on my mind because I still have not had one today. And I love it, but I'm also that person that I get like a little jittery. So I can only about have one, but I just love it. I love the smell of it. I love like the ritual. I love coffee. I'm not also like at the same time, not super particular. Like, I don't know what I want all the time. So I like trying new things. Like I don't have a go-to order. I either like just straight up like black, nothing added coffee, or, you know, extra mocha, frappuccino, like all the sugar.
Yeah.
And then I think the other part that you're asking about, like Next San Diego and like the community. Yeah. So I am on the committee. I think I know Mavis Hobson, I think are as well. And we talk a lot about this, what we want, and really the core focus of Next San Diego is to connect people to do good. And that can be businesses, it can be individuals, students, religious, non-religious, whatever, just kind of a space for people to talk about what they're doing, why they want to do good, and kind of with the overarching idea of like giving without the intention of getting something in return. So just giving freely, knowing that things will like flow back to itself. And so for Next, like our number one goal right now is to grow the community and to get more people involved. So because the more people we have, the more resources we can share, the more people we can connect, and really learn what is helpful for the members. And so we've been doing some kind of, you know, very ad hoc surveys about what people like, and they like these calls, you know, being able to connect and, you know, do Zoom. I am hopefully soon an in-person event, which we've like been floating the idea around about that. Our 1 year anniversary. I think we were going to just pick a date because Isabel was starting working on this prior to like the official 1 year, but I think we're going to pick it for the end of July. And yeah, so we have these weekly coffee events, and we talk about all sorts of ideas and just anything. I think last week was education reform, and we've talked about how to build community, just a lot of just whatever. And so I don't know if that helps, but another thing we're working on too is putting together. So we have kind of a strategic, like a plan, if you will, for Next San Diego, and putting that into a slide deck so we can more visually share it with people, and then kicking off these calls, these weekly calls with just a few minutes of like, hey, reminder or introduction, like, this is why we're here, this is what we're doing, this is how you can help, or not, whatever. So anyway.
No, that helps a lot.
Yeah. Does anything stand out as far as the initiatives that you guys are going to work on that are going into the strategic plan? Anything in particular right now?
I would say, not off the top of my head, but can I share it with you?
Sure.
Because it's actually on our website, but I don't really think people look at it too much. And we just did a few tweaks to it in our last committee meeting, but something too about Next, to be completely transparent, is that there's no official organization. Like, it's not a nonprofit. It is just a collective, a group of people. There's no money exchange other than the cost of Zoom. And I think the website, which Isabel pays out of her pocket. And so we'll ask for some donations, like buy us a coffee, which really is like buy us a little bit of the Zoom membership. And so, something we've kind of talked about is like, do we formalize it? But then it kind of takes away the community vibe too, if we're trying to do any kind of monetization. But it takes a lot of work and energy at the same time. And, we're all like entrepreneurs or entrepreneurial. I shouldn't say we all are. A lot of people on the committee are. And so, there's competing time and resources for building out Next. And so, like I said, one of the big things is definitely just building the community. And then we get into marketing. And so it's like, do we spend time on like SEO? Do we do more social media outreach? Is it referral based? Like, how are people finding out about us? And another thing, as far as like initiatives, is we've talked about like kind of setting up a little bit of a framework to expand Next San Diego. So it's Next, I think Pasadena was on our list. We're talking to some people in like Bogota, Colombia, like Next Bogota, Next Baltimore, where like these communities like can be spread out, because we have people next who aren't from San Diego, but it's a place for them to connect. And it would be great if we could have it in like other regions too. And I'm sorry, I cannot find the most current document, so I'm looking for that.
So with the next Pasadena or the next LA County or the next Riverside or other states or whatever, would they then, all the groups kind of come together and talk about things that are happening in different regions, or are they just separate? San Diego, Pasadena, talk to Pasadena, et cetera, et cetera.
That's a really good question. And I feel like I'm just speaking on behalf of everybody. So if anyone, please speak up if I'm not capturing this. But it would be individual, but there would still be shared. Like, this is my Jessa's vision, is like, it's Next, and then there's all these chapters. So for example, if I could look up another, like, it would be open to everybody, but it'd be more regionalized for like that actual like community aspect and community building for the local areas, but it would still be open to anybody. So if you went up to LA or you opened an office in LA or whatever, like you could just like step right in. You'd like be welcome to the community. At least that's my vision.
Sounds like you're going to be a nonprofit one day. I don't know. Just...
Yeah. Anyone else speak up? Sorry, I'm like just.
Yeah, no, that's great, Jessa. Your vision, it's pretty much the vision of Next San Diego, and then have Next San Diego at all over California, United States, international. And then one day when that day comes, we all meet together in a meeting and then put all these great projects that people from Next Pasadena has been working on the future, the next thing, the next sustainable, next regenerative, next impact that they're making in their own city, state, or community. And they can be future, like we all get together. Eventually, that's the goal that I see this coming in the future. But yeah, like Jessa said, right now, we're all entrepreneurs. I started my own business 2 years ago, making bags out of recycled plastic right now. And And then Next San Diego started. I was like, sure, let's do this. Whatever, we're here to support. We're excited. We're passionate. We do believe making products are good for the planet and good for the people, and their values resonates with our values. So that's the community that I want to be on.
Yeah. Awesome. And I feel like all of the people that I've talked to here have their own completely like enterprise or business going on. So it's really been a rich networking experience, even just the communications that I've had thus far. So I'm super interested in your concept, and I'm like excited for it to evolve and continue evolving with all the folks.
Can we meet those other voices over there that we haven't seen? We haven't really had real introduction. I feel like we took up the whole part of the meeting telling you about Café X, you know?
We're just all businesses trying to do good. So this is Tangible AI, Hobson. Maria and I co-founded this company a year and a half ago, I guess, to serve nonprofits with artificial intelligence and machine learning and data science. So, so yeah, and this community is totally aligned with our values in terms of supporting the other businesses around us, sort of like your cooperative that you set up, where you're not only do you treat your employees well, but you treat your customers well, and you treat your and your competitors well. So you don't think of life as a zero-sum game. It's a positive sum game where everybody who gives gets back even more than they give. So that's what we enjoy doing that in the nonprofit world, where we don't have to worry about our clients not appreciating that.
Yeah, cool.
That's amazing.
Artificial intelligence, huh?
Yeah, chatbots mostly. So it's just like chatbots in India and Nepal and Myanmar to educate teenagers or small business owners and give them the resources they need to get going. In the U.S., we're working on an education bot to help high school students, especially from disadvantaged communities, who are having trouble picking up writing skills. So this is it's like, I think there's only 40% of high school graduates have an acceptable competency in writing, like writing an essay or even a college application essay. So we're building chatbots to assist in that, because teachers don't have the time that it takes to teach someone. It usually happens in a one-on-one conference. So private schools, no problem. The teacher will spend some time with somebody, helping them work out how they think and how they organize their thoughts. So we're building a chatbot just kind of augment that work that can't happen typically at a public school.
Is that something that you could build with the specific subject matter?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're building it. What do you have in mind?
Well,
it's where the networking.
I don't want to spill all the beans, but as part of Café X, I mean, as far as for not only our in-house training manual, but we want to get an educational curriculum online for just engaging with community and having them learn more about coffee. As a African American, we are severely underrepresented in the industry. And we're learning so much. There's so many pathways within coffee. I mean, you could be a buyer, you can, become a barista, roast beans, there's micro roasting, there's all these different areas. So just getting people familiar with the different opportunities in coffee. So we're looking at maybe a little cafe institute, like some of these other places, but not having it so many barriers. They usually cost a ton of money.
Yeah, we don't want that.
So, we don't want to be charging people an arm and a leg and half their, their life savings to, get education and certified. So we're really going down the road long-term of looking at how we can provide that service out of Café X.
Yeah, and not knocking certification or anything like that, but we're looking at community education and making that accessible to folks who wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to learn. So I think
that's right up our alley.
Yeah. So
we'd love to help.
Definitely exchange information. It's put our stuff in chat, because that's another, because we have a group, a coffee roasters group that we are working with right now to get that curriculum up and on, operating. So coffee's a science, and these people are serious coffee geek scientists, laboratory. They're in the lab. Seriously, guys.
I just like to drink it and like make drink.
So yeah,
flavors. Yeah, that's
yep. So that would be great, and that's good to know. Thank you.
We could start with something small, and helping you build a chatbot to just introduce people, the top level education that you want to get done, and then and work our way down and incrementally help you.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be awesome. Awesome stuff. Thank you.
yeah, and any way that we can support your work
Right.
too.
Exactly.
We would love to, because we are trying to connect with everybody. I think we've done a really good job of that over the years. We've just built so many friendships, partnerships, collaborations, and
Awesome.
we never know like when it will come together, right? Like we're
If you ever run across anyone who has some cause that they need some artificial intelligence or data science, like somebody who has a big database of data and they can't figure out how to mine it to find insights about their business or their cause or their beneficiaries or whatever, that's what we do. That's our bread and butter. But of course, it's hard to find people in the nonprofit sector that have funding to support that kind of thing. The nonprofit sector is kind of behind the commercial sector. So if you have anyone who has money who is interested in hiring us to help them, we can do it at really affordable rates and help people.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, we're working on a project right now we didn't go into. It's going to require a lot of data mining and collecting insights and all of that stuff. It's a guaranteed income pilot. Ours is specifically focused on Black women. It's also connected to a larger regional pilot that's kicking off in San Diego, and we have a nonprofit who's leading that, who is a large nonprofit. And I mean, I think they might have staff in like data analytics, but they may not. So I think as we put the pieces, the program design together and how the evaluation will look and at what time, we can definitely use that. It's something that we're actually going to need.
Yeah, definitely going to be, because I'm all about, you got to keep your own data. Data is gold in this industry, right? So we want to have, and then our areas of interest are going to be possibly things that they haven't typically tracked, within our community, because we have a culturally competent, kind of lens going on here. So yeah, we definitely need to talk about how we might do that.
Yeah.
You mentioned guaranteed income. Is this some sort of a political movement in order to try to get some laws passed in terms of that, or what's
that? Yes, and it's exactly that. And it's gotten a lot of steam since the last election, where folks are talking about universal basic income, which is exactly what it sounds like. a floor for folks to have a basic level of income, supported by our institutions, government, so that they can enjoy some quality of life, right? A certain level of quality of life, and build upon that. And guaranteed income is more targeted, and that focuses on a specific community, typically communities who've been marginalized or disenfranchised in some way. So that's what ours is. We're guaranteed versus universal, but the whole goal is to change systems and structures that keep people from thriving and address those barriers in all of our safety net programs, and think about better ways to do it. So these pilots are popping off all over the country, and
they are.
Luckily we have one here. So
and we got a head start. We've been working with a group of women in a focus group for about 6 months now, and engaged in talks just in county, city, and state levels at this point with this pilot. So a lot, like Khea said, a lot of steam building with that. And again, we're probably going to need some specific stuff. And our view of the whole pilot was to involve community and involve businesses, and not just nonprofits only, or the typical county agencies and government, but the business owners, the entrepreneurs, the people that we see that know and understand and have barriers within the system, and really getting that data and showing, hey, this is proof of. And then, we have wraparound a corridor of services around, not just throwing money at people. And then, the grant runs out, and then what are the outcomes? And people make up outcomes. I've worked in a lot of nonprofits, over the years. And so just really, like she said, it's about trying to get in there and have some systems change, because typically when they give you, agencies give you money, then, they take away something else. So how do we get into the system? Because it'll get you, just level, but it never lets you be able to get ahead and create generational wealth. Like get an investment plan together. Maybe you need life insurance, you can't afford it. All those things that are critical, so that's kind of in a nutshell.
And we have a community of businesses that can help, or organizations that can help provide that. And so it's important that we're not limited to one sector. It's cross-sector solutions to try and solve this problem. And we really want to analyze and look at the power of that connectedness within this pilot. And so it can get pretty nuanced when we're talking about exploring those things. And it's so much more than money, though money is a key component.
Is there an organization or someone we could contact we could put our interns in contact with to do some research and find out, how we could get access to the data for the interns to start helping out? Is there an organization that's doing this, a lobby group, or is it a political organization, or just a business, or is there an organization we could?
It's a collaboration, community, state, county, state level, we're working out all those details as far as who will be handling what. We know with one of the larger organizations, like she said, they have a business analytics department, but we don't know how that, what
That's
that.
what I was wondering about. Who is that? Is it the county or somebody?
No, and we're hesitant to say the name, but I think
I'm sorry. Okay, never mind.
I think it's out there already. We've done a few press releases, but things aren't. We're still designing the pilot as we speak. So it's Jewish Family Services who's leading, as the lead nonprofit, but we're obviously collaborators, and we're doing that kind of parallel pilot focusing specifically on Black women. But it will be them as well as a few other nonprofits and different types of organizations. In addition to government, county has their own pilot, and so everybody has to sync up. And there's a statewide community of practice we're a part of. So there's a lot of different types of resources. I think the community of practice is closed, but there's also a group that you may be interested in just looking at, because they look at all the pilots from around the country. It's called Mayors for Guaranteed Income.
Mayors.
Yeah,
Mayors for Guaranteed Income.
Yeah. And you can follow them. I think they have a newsletter that you can just easily access, and then begin to think about what's going on in the guaranteed income world in preparation, because there will be the local pilots happening.
Yeah. And
that's perfect.
Yeah. I'm thinking about you specifically because we're working out of specific locations, and they seem to have an issue with their data mining. So to have another check and balance for that information that's flowing would be great. So speaking to you, just under our umbrella of Café X, as a part of piloting, we have money in the budget for such things. So yeah, we'll be talking to you about that.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
All right. Sorry, guys. All the rest of everybody's
got carried away.
We got that feel like we have you guys hostage. So I hope that's helpful or interesting for you guys as community members and entrepreneurs. That's just one of the larger initiatives that we're working on. And like I said, with our advisory group, we have people from community on our advisory board, as well as community members that will be working with these women on these different scales, from finance, health and wellness, entrepreneurship, and all these different criteria within the program. So this is why this group, or a group like yours, is so important, because making those connections is just going to become more needed and important as we scale up.
Yeah. I'm interested in. Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I was looking at your name like, oh, what is badge?
Hello, everyone. I have recently, well, in the past 3 years, I've been working with RISE as well. Not through the fellows program. I am actually going to apply for that, but they kind of have a social impact development program that they do every year. And so I've been doing it for 3 years. And what I have now turned into in terms of refining my business model over the past 3 years is a nonprofit educational publishing house focused on Black, Indigenous, and people of color amplifying their stories in new history books.
Hey, yes, yes.
So we have stepped into the very big world of becoming a history book publisher, and our practice is a way different than the way history has typically been written. We actually use DNA and genealogy because for people of color, specifically, anybody with any sort of enslavement in their history, we know that pre-1865, we weren't listed in government documents. So when you're doing your genealogy, you get to 1865.
Right.
See?
I bet the 1821, I think, and I hit a wall.
Yeah, so you call it that brick wall. And so I've been working in genealogy for the past 15, 16 years.
Oh, you're such a person I need in my life. Oh my God.
You say I'm talking your language? Yeah, so we use the DNA to help bridge some of those gaps. And so our focus for this first history book, which will come out in February, is that we do the research to find your oldest documentable ancestor. So when we hit, we go to the brick wall just because it takes time to overcome that brick wall. But like my brick wall overcoming skills are a little different. So I might be able to get, the average person a little further along. And then what we do is they write a story or write a letter about that ancestor. And then we further follow it up with history, like the historical events that impacted that ancestor's life. So if one of our participants didn't know who his father was, he didn't tell me that when we started, but we were, I was able to tell that by the DNA, and I was able to triangulate his DNA and figure out who his potential father was. And then he,
wow.
We found a half brother that we were able to test to confirm because the father was deceased. So then we traced that line and we found his third great grandmother, who's supposed to be half Native American. There was 12 different family members who applied to the Dawes Commission through the Mississippi Choctaw. They were all denied, but it had a lot of information in terms of the transcripts from the testimony. So that's what his story is about. And then the history about that we're writing about is, just like the battle, the Treaty of Dancing, Battle Creek Dancing Rabbit, I get it mixed up. But that treaty that, basically started the Trail of Tears and the Indian Removal Act and how that impacted race in America, because especially for Black folks, like we all say, our great-great-grandmother was Native American. She had this gray wavy hair and these braids. And then we take the ancestor DNA test and it says 0 to 1%, and we're confused because now we want to fight because I have a picture of her and you can't tell me she's not Native. And so this really highlights some of the ways in which race has been defined by government and robbed us of some of our ancestral lineage. So that's just one chapter.
Yes, yeah.
There'll be 25 chapters in the book.
I found records on the reservation, off the reservation, land, take all kind of stuff. It's real juicy. So
yes, and it's hard. It takes a lot of work. Like right now, I'm waiting for the archives to open because Fold 3, and it's expensive. And so that's the other thing is that for, it's a luxury for many people, but I see it really as a teaching tool to, really focus on underserved communities, BIPOC, because we're the ones who've been left out of the history books. And what we do know about all centers around enslavement.
Yeah, I know someone who just paid $3,000 to somebody to do this kind of mining.
Yeah.
Are you into like the insurance companies? Because you know they kept records because they had.
Yeah, I mean, you do some research with that. And so that's the reason why we go to the brick wall, and then we provide the resource. We provide, oversight, consultations with people to teach, to tell them, okay, here's where you need to look next. Here's where you need to go. Because really, it's very difficult, at least for me in my mind, to charge somebody to do the research, because it takes as long as it takes. And every time you answer one question, there's going to be a new question.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's an ongoing
legacy. Yeah, we need you to. Crazy. We got yes.
Yeah. So this history book, we want, and we really focus on everyday people, because we see the stories on, finding your roots and, who do you think you are, all these celebrities. And so we continue to kind of feed into that narrative that you have to be famous in order for, your family's impact or your legacy to have historical significance.
Right.
And it's just not true. It's like every story, every person that we research, we find historical significance, impact that their family had. And we think that by doing the history books that way, we plan to really focus on like the libraries and school systems long-term, to try and impact how curriculum is developed, to give them some new content. So it's just like this whole whirlwind of things, like you say, one project just keeps constantly spinning into the next. We have a drone project where I became a drone pilot for the sole purpose of being able to document lost and hidden cemeteries of burial grounds of people of color.
Oh, wow.
And so we're working to get a drone next year that has GPR and LiDAR on it, because what I found out in doing the beta test in Alabama, it was one thing to fly above the burial ground, but then you forget there's all these trees. So you still can't see it. So there's a drone company that I have been speaking with about really focusing on that. But like I say, and then as a solo founder, you're like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. Then I have to build the organization, and then I have to do that. So it's like a lot of balls in the air. And I met Isabel through the Sister Cities Project. And so I think I've seen you guys speak there before. And so it's just, continuing to build that network, because this is all out of my wheelhouse in terms of the business aspects of it, but my passion and my ability to learn and want to learn and to share. And that's why it's a nonprofit, just because it's a public product to me. And that's really been one of the biggest barriers for people of color to do their research.
So you said you're in the process of building the nonprofit, or is it established already?
So I have applied for my 501c3. COVID is causing that to be at a snail's pace. I'm hoping within the next 60 days that will be complete, because I think they're up to March 10th. Mine was April 26th, where, and then we're in the process of, so we're doing the writing, we're doing the research. So like we're building as we're writing the book and trying to get funding. So I've been self-funding, and that has been an interesting challenge over the past 3 years. And so we're getting at the point to where we are, I believe, formalized enough to be able to, publicly speak our dreams and what we're doing. And people have really been signing up to help push the project through. And so I just feel like everything happens in due time, and it's time.
Yes.
Oh, do I have ideas? I'm just thinking about all the women that we're going to be connected with in this pilot project that we're working on. And a part of that is understanding our history. And we have advisory board members, women leaders, who will help facilitate these wraparound services or these networking opportunities. And one of the core components is recognition of self. And we build on that to make sure that we're analyzing kind of a baseline of agency, how folks feel about what agency they have or don't have as a really specific kind of data point in the work that we're doing. And I just don't know any organizations that are doing what you're doing.
Right.
And
it's cool that you say that, because that is one of the partnership opportunities that we want to expand upon for next year, is like working with, focused groups and their members to, help them basically create their own books. So like the Women's History Museum, I was talking with them just when COVID hit. So that had kind of, stalled that because the program was just starting up. And so we were beta testing. We had to, there's a whole lot of transitioning, but we've been able to transition to being, primarily online. So we've managed that. And now we have a group of writers and participants, and we're just really trying to diversify our participants that we have right now. So I will include the link to I put the one for our website. I've just recently posted the link for people who want to apply to have their stories told. Have that. And then the other thing, like I said, we do is we provide consulting services. So if you're a genealogist and you just don't know what to do next, like, okay, I'm hit this wall, how do I get around it? Give me some resources. So we provide affordable consultations in 30-minute and 1-hour blocks, because the way that, genealogy is now, like some people are charging $200-300 an hour and really only giving you back exactly what you just already found on Ancestry.
Hello. Yeah,
it just happened.
it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hobson, you hear that? Agency be a data point for collecting such, that kind of thing. Like I said, outside of the normal lens for capturing information. That's what we're kind of looking for, that creative piece that seems to be missing, because, there's a whole formula around data collection, as you know. So, yeah.
Who's your data architect? Who's maintaining all the data that you have discovered?
Her name is Shelly, and so she's new to this.
Same spelling as yours?
Exactly, another IE, like, what are the odds? There's 5 of us in the world and 2 of us on the same project.
Are you both in Alabama?
No, I'm actually in San Diego. It's the reason why I chose Alabama as the test for my beta test for the drone project is because that's where my grandmother's from. And part of doing my research, what you really realize, like, when you think about it in modern terms and you think of like all these states that we have, but when you look back into the 1800s, you realize, well, there really weren't that many states. And so, exactly. So, you're going to always, odds are you're going to end up in Alabama, Mississippi, Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, move into Texas, and then eventually come down to California, Oklahoma from the Trail of Tears. So there's just like
all my people's, girl, you just named my trail. I'm not even kidding you. It's crazy. It's amazing.
So yeah, everything goes back to those. And so that's why we did the beta test there, because I have been in search of my 3rd great grandmother on that side. I only have her name on my great grandfather's death certificate. But in going to that courthouse, I actually found a letter that was written to her by a white man in support of her son's application for marriage in 1873.
Wow.
Just sitting there in a cardboard box in the courthouse, just waiting to be found. So it's just like things like that. 2 years ago, I went back to do the beta test again to do some more areas. And we found my great grandmother's old house, but there were still a few people there who were left. I have 2 great aunts that were still alive. One was 198 and one was 98 at the time. So they thought, oh no, so we found somebody and commandeered them to show us where the house was. There's this guy out, he's mowing the lawn, and we're asking him, like, do you know which one of these houses? Do you remember the Chapmans? He's like my age, so odds are he doesn't, but who knows? He says, you know what? I just bought this house over here that I'm getting ready to rehab, and I found this obituary and some pictures in there. So, I just get excited. Obituaries excite me because they have lots of information. And so he's like, he had an obituary, like, oh yeah, let me see that. Let me see it. Do you know that man brought me my great grandmother's obituary from 1979?
Universe is on with you.
In 2019, he handed me her obituary from 1979. She died the day after Christmas. And then it was like in a folder of pictures that also included some of the pictures I didn't know who they were, but someone was like my uncle who was now deceased, his senior high school picture from Lincoln High School, 1960 something. So when she left the house, she sold it to other, some cousins. And just over the years, even though it's gone through many changes in ownership, this stack of documents and papers survived, and he just handed it to me. Wow. Then he says, you know what? And we found this quilt in there too. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go, because we're going to go do another flyover. If you find it, let me know. If not, great, thank you so much. He calls me like 15 minutes later. So we come back down in about an hour, and he hands me this quilt that he found in the house that he has washed, preserved. It's in a vacuum sealed bag and everything. And he just hands it to me. And he's like, I feel like this was probably your great grandmother's quilt. He'd already given me an iron that I found, that I saw on the windowsill. I'm like, I feel like that's my great grandmother's iron. How much do you want for it? And he was like, it's your great grandmother's, take it. And then he just gave me the quilt, so that I called my aunt who moved my great grandmother from the house. This was the 98-year-old. And I said, well, what, did you guys make quilts? Like, I don't even know. And she's like, oh, if there was a quilt in the house, yeah, it was probably ours, because that's the only way we stayed warm. And when she came to move her, my great grandmother was sick. And so she's like, we had to leave a lot behind because we were flying. So that's the quilt you see in the corner there. It stays with me.
Wow.
So it's just like experiences like these where, just like, what are the odds? 50 years later, or, how many ever years later you walk in and somebody just hands you, these artifacts from your family. And so it's just things like that along the way where I feel like, God is sending me some ancestral, good vibes to keep it moving. So that's where we are.
We need your contact information.
Yeah, I got your website down, and she just, I think, followed you on Instagram, and so we got that much. So I think we can follow. So
definitely contact me, and I'm really, because I think Natasha Mouchette from Rise. I think she,
absolutely. I worked with her for a year and a half or two. Yes.
Yeah, because when we were first starting the program just before the COVID hit, she was like, you need to reach out to them and see if, they have like a book club or something. And then say COVID hit and just kind of threw everything off. So yes. So everything happens in due time. We will be able to connect and share because,
Oh, that's exciting stuff. Sorry, everyone else. Who else? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's like, I feel like, oh my God. This is great.
And just a heads up, I have to leave at 1. So just don't worry when I log out.
Go to as well at 1 o'clock. But oh my God, this has just been so rich. Thank you guys. This is wonderful. Connection everywhere. Who else? I see two other faces on the screen.
Rebecca slid in.
Okay. Rebecca Dre.
Hello.
Hi.
I am so sorry I was late because I am really enjoying listening to you, everything you're talking about, and I'm sorry I missed the beginning of it. I got stuck on another call that was really boring in comparison to this conversation. So, so thank you. Yeah, so I work in the social enterprise development space, and I've known Isabel for a while through Next San Diego and the Tory Project, and yeah, I'm just really thrilled to listen to what you're talking about and what you're creating. I mean, it's just fantastic, and it's what we need. And I work supporting social enterprises to do what's called social procurement, so contracting with businesses and government and corporate purchasers or university hospital purchasers or whatever, who are looking for impact organizations to put into their supply chains. So I do that. So and I sit on the national board of the Social Enterprise Alliance. And then we also do certification for social enterprises as well to help them get certified so that they can be part of our supply chain database. So
what's the name of your organization? Did you already?
So Bisocial USA is the social procurement I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. Amazing. Amazing. You know, oh, go ahead. I'm gonna let you guys talk now.
No.
We have 4
Carry
minutes.
on. But no, I was going to say to you, so we, Next San Diego has a network page on the Good Market platform, which is a social enterprise marketplace, and it's free to sign up and put on a profile of your services. So both of you who I just listened to talking, thank you, Isabel, just like that. But yeah, you know, if you provide goods or services in the social enterprise or social impact space, you should set up a free profile on Good Market. If you then want to go on and be certified and join the BiSocial seller database, you're welcome to do that through that application as well. It just asks you at the end, but we are looking for suppliers right across the board. And the San Diego area is one of the areas that we're hoping to do a pilot project in, to do a collective purchasing piece of work around working with a number of buyers, because we just got contracted by SAP, who are one of the biggest software companies in the world, and they have been doing social procurement for a number of years, and they're looking to spend around $60 million on buying from social enterprises over the next couple of years. So there's a lot of opportunity coming up, and they're pushing other organizations to do the same thing, including Food Buy, which is one of the biggest food buyers in food and beverage buyers in the States. So
Wow, we will definitely join that. Absolutely. You're full of good resources.
Yes.
yeah, and so more than happy to, you know, to help if you need any help that we can provide in going through that process, then just reach out anytime. So
Oh, thank you. Great. I don't think the only person I hadn't heard that little voice down there is Isabel. When?
Well, you all know me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
you all don't know each other, but you all know me.
Okay. So Isabel, that's the recurring name I keep hearing. I just didn't have a face to go with it. Now I do.
Hi. So yeah, I mean, this is awesome. This is part of why we started Next San Diego, was to connect all these people. Like, we just individually keep meeting amazing people doing incredible, important work, and I just want to mash them together and get them to meet each other and have stuff like this happen. So just thank you all for showing up today.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is great. Yeah.
This is awesome.
I know people have 1 o'clock, so we have one we got to jump off and get on right back on working on this pilots, but it's been wonderful. I've enjoyed all of you all. Thank you so much. You know, and we guess how often you guys meet up?
Every week.
Every week. Okay. So we just do follow up and see what else we can get into, guys. You know,
Yeah.
I run into stuff all the time, so I'll bring whatever intel back. And I got a few ideas for a couple of you there, Hobson and the rest, and of course you, Shelley. Oh my God, right off the bat. But yes,
and Rebecca,
that platform.
This was a good one.
In the Slack community, you can stay connected, message each other, the whole community by text, and then we also have the website www.nextsandiego.org/events. And so we have a couple other events coming up this summer. So cool. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
We'll see
Nice
you the
to meet you
next
all.
time. Jesse.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.